What up, Talkin Fight fans? Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Knuckle Up with yours truly, Mike Orr, and today my special guest, Nathan Quarless. Welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and join us today and, chat it up with me. Big fan. Definitely like watching you do work in the ring, man. And I can't wait to see you back in there. But unfortunately, an injury is gonna stop that for a little while. We'll talk all about that, but definitely, I want to get the fans knowing who you are, man, and how did it all start? How did you get into boxing? What age were you?
Yeah, nice one for inviting me on. I appreciate it. I started boxing when I was about 12, I'd say, but it's always been in the family, obviously, with my Uncle Noel and my dad. You know, he got me into boxing. I've always loved boxing. Grew up watching the likes of Joe Frazier, Ali, Joe Lewis, on videotapes, and I've always loved the sport. So I think it was inevitable, really, that I would end up being a boxer. And just one day, my dad said, you've got to get off the Xbox and start doing some sports. So I chose boxing, and it went from there, really.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know what? It's a good thing you did put down the Xbox, right? Your uncle had a pretty good pro career. Did you feel pressure to get into boxing because of it, or was it just always a passion because it was in your family?
There was no pressure on me to get into boxing. I chose the sport. I played football. I had to go running, and then it was just try boxing, and then it went from there. Really, there was no pressure on me to go on and be a professional, to even fight. It was just to get me out the house, and do some sport and get a bit of discipline. It went from there, and I started getting better. I felt I had real natural talent for it, and then I just kept progression in the amateurs, and I was always fighting lads who were a lot more experienced than me. I only had 19 fights as an amateur,
right?
And I achieved, quite a bit. I beat a lot of top lads during my time as an amateur, and I ended up turning pro, and I feel like, if it wasn't for my dad pushing me and stuff, I wouldn't be in the position I was in now.
Right. So is your dad a big part of your training?
He's always been a big part of the training, but I'd say in lockdown, I told him to get his coaching badge.
Okay.
So now he's a part of the team. He's the second man in the corner, basically.
Okay. Who's your head trainer?
Tommy Smith. I've been with Tommy since I was an amateur.
Oh, okay, yes. And you were at ABC, right?
At the Salisbury ABC, yeah. I started off in the Golden Gloves, right. And then we left and then joined the Salisbury in 2012.
And you were their first fighter to go pro, correct?
Yeah, first fighter to go pro with them as a club. Obviously, there's been a lot of other fighters who have turned pro in the past from the Solly, but they never actually turned over with them. I was the first one, yeah.
How did that feel when that happened?
It was a proud moment for me. As there's a lot of decent pros that have come out of that gym, and me being the one to set it all alight for the Solly to have their pro stable. It was great, and I wish them all the best as well for whatever future plans they have.
Right. What are some of your short-term goals? Well, I know you just got injured. You tore. Why don't you just tell us about it? I know we were talking about it off camera. Your last fight, you won it. You're now 11-0, correct? Let us.
So Saturday night, I boxed in the M&S Arena on the Liam Smith undercard. Fantastic night, other than me rupturing me tendon in the bicep in the third round. I'm going to be out of action probably till about March. I'm trying to get try and quickly get me operated in the next 2 weeks, and then it's 3-4 months rehab. So I'm gonna be staying in the gym and doing everything I can to stay fit. Obviously, just not being able to throw my left hand.
Right.
But my plan is March 2023. Gutted, but you know what? These things happen in the sport, and you've just got to, stay mentally strong as well.
Right. Do you feel pressure at all to come through with that first stoppage, or you just don't let that bother you at all when you're in the ring?
You know what? It does. Obviously, I would like the stoppage. I thought I was going to get on the weekend,
Right.
and then obviously I tore the bicep. I had him down in the second round with a good shot.
Yeah.
It was towards the end of the second, and then in the third round the bicep thing happened, and then I couldn't really set my shots off.
Right.
So I was just doing enough to win the rounds, and I still caught him with some nice shots. And to be fair to him, he took the shots well, and I think it was just one of those things. I don't feel any pressure because end of the day, when you move up in these levels,
Mm-hmm.
you don't tend to see as many knockouts
Right.
when the fighters reach a certain level. Not saying that they don't. People can always have an equalizer, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not to say I don't have power, because I do have power.
Oh, definitely.
But boxing ability, is that's the art. Everyone should know how to box properly. So I feel like people can underestimate me, and they can do that all they want, But when we get in there and they're not able to land the shots on me, not able to land the power punches, and I'm boxing heads off, I think a lot of the time it's gonna it'll come down to that, and people will quit, or you get late stoppages.
Right. Right. Honestly, when I watch you fight, you do have a very, very intelligent ring IQ. It shows that you've had a lot of skills taught to you throughout
Yeah.
your amateur career and stuff. So the fact that you don't have a stoppage, it doesn't really matter, because honestly, I love watching you outbox these guys over the distance, man, to be honest. And you coming through with these victories every time. And congratulations for Saturday's win, even with
Thanks
that,
very much.
with that bicep. Where do you see yourself in the next 2 years? Where would you like to be at?
Well, I want to be pushing now for big fights.
Right.
Whether that's I'm going to need a fight to come back in March after the injury, and then from there, I want to be pushing on for British titles and stuff now.
Right.
I feel like I'm ready to do it. I don't fear anyone in the division, and I want to test myself against these big lads, because I think when we step up and when we all meet, I think that's when you'll see the best version of me. When I'm in the ring with someone, who you've got to really perform against. And there's no disrespect to me past opponents, but sometimes I find that I'm winning fights in first gear. And when I was up for this Webster fight, I was really up for it. Best I've ever trained. I was training like an absolute demon in the gym. I was doing all my cardio. I never cheated once on my diet. And I'd done everything that was asked of me for this Michael Webster fight. And for whatever reason, he couldn't fight. And I wish him the best of luck on it, and whatever he's got wrong with him and in his recovery. But once I get back fighting, I want to be pushing on now, and I want to be looking for titles myself.
Right. What do you think the biggest lesson you've learned in boxing is to date?
You can never underestimate anyone. I think that's it's an old cliche, but yeah, you can never underestimate anyone. You've always got to go in to these fights 100%.
Right.
100%. You can't cheat. I've done it in the past. You mightn't have trained as hard in that session, and this year really for me has been a turning point in my mentality as well. I'm on it constantly, and I'm always looking to better myself, and what can I do to get fitter? What can I do to get stronger? what diet, getting a nutritionist and getting a good strength conditioning coach and sparring, it's all got to be right, hasn't it?
Right. Now, so with a nutritionist, so you've now recently brought on a nutritionist into
Yeah.
your training.
It was since the Steve Collins fight.
Oh, okay. And how do you feel like before you get in? Like, is it helping? Like, does it give you more energy, or do you feel less sluggish and all that?
Yeah, it's more to do, when you're training.
Right.
When you're really overloading on training, and you're feeling tired, and you don't want to go and do this session because your body's crying out really. But since getting me a nutritionist, you're able to just do that little bit extra. Your body's still tired, but you've got the energy to go and do it. Whereas in the past, you're sort of guessing with your food,
Mhm.
where when you've got someone on board telling you what to eat, and then have a caffeine chewy or to get you through this session. Just little things like that, adds up to a lot.
Was there anything that was introduced into your diet that you had never eaten before that you were kind of surprised?
No, what? No, it's all basic foods. The only thing I would say was like bringing like caffeine on as like before sessions when you're tired.
Right.
Obviously you have a little coffee and stuff anyway, but yeah, having quite a bit of caffeine just to give you that little energy boost to get through the strength conditioning session or to get through the sparring session. So, just little things like that. They don't half make a difference.
Right. I know you've sparred some good names. What's the best sparring session that you've had, and who was it with?
Um, I'd probably say the most I enjoyed was being down in with Hughie Fury for can't remember what camp it was, but we was asked down. I think I was 2-0 at the time as a pro. We were asked down for a full training camp, um, and being around them and being around Peter Fury and seeing how they train and how they spar. You know, at the time I was only doing 4 rounders, and
Right.
just to look and see the type of fitness level that these top lads have got. It doesn't half inspire you to to get to that point. And it showed in for this camp for the Webster fight. I was getting two lads in for sparring. I was doing 10 rounds. They were doing 6 or 4 each. And you're pushing on in the 10th round.
Right.
And that was brilliant for me as well, because you get yourself to this fitness level and you see all the hard work you've put in over the years getting to that point.
Right. Who, if you could fight anybody right now, like if your arm wasn't hurt and you were ready to book a next match, who would it be? Who would you call up?
I wouldn't say I'd call out anyone. It's just anyone, for the British title in the division. If the British title was vacant and me and whoever got put in there, I wouldn't be bothered who it was in this division. I feel like I'm good enough to beat anyone. So I'm looking forward to next year and of getting myself into these big fights because I'm more than ready to do it.
I believe you are. It's unfortunate that you got this little hiccup in the way, and now you're gonna have to wait till March. What is it? What is it that you possess that you believe helps you be the best you can be, and the better man in the division?
I think speed and boxing ability. I
Yeah.
don't think many of the lads in my weight have got the boxing or the ring IQ I've got. A lot of them rely on the power, and I rely on boxing people and being smart in the ring. I don't take many punches.
No, that's true.
I'm not taking many punches in my career. In the 8 rounder with Steve Collins, I barely took any. So I think a lot of people struggle to actually land punches on me. And
Right.
Once you get through the round and the rounds are going on, I think that'll really frustrate people.
What do you believe to be one of your weaknesses, if you have any, and what are you doing to improve on it?
I'm not sure. I could probably throw some. I don't know. Never really thought about it, to be honest. Probably, not knocking people out. I probably, yeah. It's a week. I've not had one, so I could probably say that, yeah.
Honestly, I don't. It doesn't even matter that you haven't knocked anybody out because definitely you do outbox them,
Yeah,
and you do move. You do move very agile, man, for a cruiserweight.
yeah.
Is there anything like? Do you work on stuff to help with that movement? Like how are
No,
you?
I actually find it quite hard in the gym to when my dad will say, keep moving your head. But I find it hard to actually train it. It's more like reactions. So it's more like when I spar, I'll see like a little flick in the shoulder, or then I'll know a certain punch is coming. It's
Right.
more like reactions and reading your opponent more than just coming in bobbing and weaving. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Um, say 5, 10 years. Where do you see you? Where do you see yourself? Where would you like to be?
Well, if hopefully on the world stage, that's everyone's dream, and I think I'm good enough. And these next 2 years are vital for me.
Definitely.
Got to you know British title. I'll be the first. I think. Don't quote me on it, but I think it'll be the first British champion from Liverpool in the cruiserweight division.
Oh
So
wow.
that would be amazing as well. And then go from there. The path. British, European. Beat some world level opponents, and then who knows, world titles and whatnot. But you know, my main focus now is get myself to that British title now.
Right. Um, if Okay, for anybody out there who doesn't know who you are, which of your 11 wins would you say was the best display of your skill set?
I would probably say the Steve Collins fight. That was my first real test,
Right.
and a lot of not everyone thought I was gonna come out of that with the win, and there's a few news articles saying it's gonna be an easy win for Collins. Um, and I had that, and he started the fight okay in the first round, and then after that first round, I completely took over. I controlled the pace. Yeah, kept jabbing. My skill set was shown in that fight. I had him hurt a few times, and I would say that's probably my best fight. And then probably after that would be Ken Kapanen, but mainly because of how I beat him. It was a shutout. I don't think he
Yeah.
landed the punch on me, and he's a brilliant opponent.
Right.
For lads starting off, he can cause an upset against anybody. I
Yeah.
think after the fight with me, he went on and won 2 fights on the bounce by knockout. So he was, I would say he was in the 4 round fights anyway. He was definitely one that could have easily went wrong.
Right. Uh, can you run us through a day of training camp? Like as you were coming up, or say let's just say your hardest training camp. Run us through a
Well,
day in the
I
hardest
would
training
say
camp.
it was this. I would say it was this camp. Obviously, it was my first supposed to be a 10 round fight.
Right.
Um, so I usually train about 12 o'clock boxing. So sometimes I would have a run in the morning, then go boxing, then go strength and conditioning in the night. Um, then we would more than likely spar on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Um, do strength and conditioning in the night after the Monday session. Tuesday would be boxing and cardio. We introduced a rowing session in the night, which was 10 rounds, 3 minute rounds. You had to hit 800 meters every round with
Oh
a
wow.
minute rest. So that was grueling.
Wow.
That was tough. Um, so I was doing the rower, me running, strength and conditioning, and me boxing. I was 2 to 3 sessions a day. 6 days a week.
Wow.
So that was tough. And sparring was, I think I'd done 4 10-round spars, a few 8s, and then at the beginning of camp we done a few 6s.
Right.
But yeah, this camp is definitely the hardest.
Is there any part of the camp that you hated doing?
Probably the rowing, to be honest.
It sounds pretty rough, man. 800 meters, you had to reach at every round.
Yeah.
That's got to be
That was
difficult.
tough. Yeah, that was your mentally, your mental strength more than the physical part of it was obviously hard,
right?
But the mental side of it as well was grueling.
That sounds brutal. I don't envy you at that point, man. Holy crow. If you walk away from the sport tomorrow, what would you want to be remembered for?
I would just say probably the Collins fight. It was my first headliner. I fought a box brilliant. And beating an opponent like Steve Collins Jr.
Right.
The way I beat him, I think I beat him 7 rounds to 1.
Yeah.
That was doesn't really get the credit it deserves in the boxing world. But I would probably say that, yeah.
Excellent. When you're ready to retire and hang it up, any plans to teach? Pass it forward.
I would probably go into coaching. Yeah, I would probably go into coaching. Not sure if it would be amateur or pro.
Right.
But I would definitely go into it. I think I love the sport too much not to.
Right. If you could, give advice to any of the young kids coming up, what would it be?
Yeah. They just gotta work on your skill set. Try and keep the egos aside and train hard and work hard, because you can have all the talent in the world, as my dad always says, and if you don't train hard enough, in the end, it might not at the beginning, but in the end, hard work always beats talent. And if you've got both, then you should go on to do great things.
Right. Do you want to be loved or do you want to be feared?
Either or. I don't really think about that side of it. I just want to go in, do my job, and get the wins and keep winning until I get to the level that I think I should be at.
Right. With boxing, boxing being, pegged as having so much politics and bull crap going on behind the scenes. What's the biggest obstacle that's been put in front of you that you've had to, climb over so far in your career?
I think it's mainly, it's hard for a lot of boxers like myself. I've had 11 fights now. I've had one fight on the big stage. The small hall shows are hard. You've got to go out there and sell tickets. Got to bust your balls and do a lot of hard work. And I think with a lot of the lads, if you can't sell up to 100 tickets, you're not able to fight. I'm one of the lucky ones who can shift out a few tickets, but it's not always the case. Some of the good boxers who've left the sport haven't been able to achieve what they can achieve because they're not ticket sellers. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be based on how good you are. It shouldn't be based on how many tickets you sell. And I think boxing's struggling a little bit at the minute. Outside the super fights, you'll have organizations like the UFC, and they've set the bar high, and people are out there moaning about how their fighters are getting paid. But if you look at the exposure they get from the UFC, it's just crazy. If you're in the UFC, you can make a lot of money outside the sport as well.
Right.
Whereas in boxing, unless you're one of the mega stars, you're not really doing it. So I think boxing's got to somehow find a way to start competing again in the mid-level of the sport.
Right.
The mega stars, they're fine. They're earning the big money.
Yeah.
But the lads my level and the mid-level, it's not the case.
I know it's almost like they've left it up to you with with the way social media has blossomed and all these different platforms. It's like they've left it up to the boxer to self promote now, and these promoters are just sinking their time and money into the big stars, which in turn hurts you guys because 11 fights, and you're in the situation you're in. Really, what do you think they need to do to change it?
I think everyone needs a fair share of. I wouldn't say money. Fuck the money. I think everyone just needs a fair share of being noticed. And whether that's boxing on the telly, or if you're good enough, you should be given the platform to do so, and then you can build a fan base after that. But it's how can you build a fan base when you haven't got the platform to do so?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's a hard one. It is, but I think we've got to somehow find a way to do it.
Right. And you know what? If you love the sport, you're going to do everything you can to do it, right?
Yeah.
You know what, Nathan? It's been a great interview, man. It's been great talking to you. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know you're probably a very busy man. I would love to have you back on the show in the future. Definitely keep us updated with the injury and how you're doing. Just stick around. I'm going to sign off and I'll say my goodbyes. To all Talkin Fight fans, thanks for tuning in to today's special episode of Knuckle Up with our man Nathan Quarless. Guys, definitely be following this kid's career. Big things in his future. Definitely going to see a world belt around his waist and that British title. So you know what it is. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same channel. New prospects.